Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I bring you some really great news. Version 1.4 special program was finally announced and it's going to happen in 3 days from now. And look at this official art here. It looks so amazing and I know that players that are looking forward for miyabi are definitely super excited for this one. The version 1.4 is going to be called a storm of falling stars, and there's simply no way that this wasn't intentional, especially with all the memes around the community comparing miyabi to Virgil from Devil May Cry. But anyway, jokes aside, I'm super excited for this one, not only because of miyabi, not only because of Harumasa, but because there's a lot of content, a lot of new features that I'm looking forward for this one, that they already kind of teased and talking about back into a dev post that they released. I think that it was around the version 1.2. So I'm really looking forward to this version. And today I'm going to share these expectations with you and hopefully we can all hype up this special program together. So the very first thing that I'm looking forward, and I know that this is not everyone's cup of tea, is the main story. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, but you can see G1 in the background, and this kind of throws you back where you get the information of Hands and PubSec working together. So hopefully version 1.4 is kind of tying everything up, because we got like version 1.1, a Jane spin-off pretty much, because you're seeing like some kind of side story that doesn't seem related to the main story. Version 1.3, another spin-off, introducing you to some of the characters from Section 6, which is really great, but overall it also doesn't ties with the main story. Version 1.2 had a little bit of information, but everything that happened with Sons of Caledon doesn't feel like there's any connection with the main story as well. So hopefully version 1.4 is going to tie everything up and we're going to continue the story from where we left back into the 1.0. So the next thing that I'm really excited is about the decibel change that they promised way back into this dev post that I keep talking about. They said that they had some ideas, they were working on it, and hopefully in version 1.4 we're going to get official information on how they are going to change it. Because right now decibels are shared and you're barely going to use like different ultimates. You're pretty much always going to use your main DPS ultimate. And this is quite sad, especially when every single unit has a different utility for their ultimate. Stunners, for example, has really high daze multipliers on the ultimate, and you can use it to stun the enemy faster. But what's the point if you're not going to do damage when the end game is pretty much a DPS check? So it feels quite sad, and hopefully this change is going to bring up some really exciting features for the combat on Zenless 0. Because by removing the shared decibels, you can actually pretty much use everyone's ultimate in your team. Not anymore this thing of not using ultimates just because it feels pointless. I think Sokaku is still on the blacklist because her ultimate is super long and I don't want to use a stun timer or anything at all. So I still would recommend using Sokaku's ultimate, but slow Kaku issues aside, pretty much everyone's ultimate's going to be useful in the game if they decided to change the decibel system. And I'm really looking forward for it, but I don't know if they are like fully going to release it and add it to the game right now in the version 1.4 or if they are only going to share more information on the 1.4. I say this because there were also the issue around selecting units to roam around the city, which is also something that I'm looking forward for the 1.4, because they said back then on the same dev post that there were some issues when it comes to selecting units to walk around the city. The very first one is that they need to make new animations for these units because they don't want you to have the feeling, they don't want to just recycle the same combat animation back into the city because it doesn't feel that you're using the character through the city. So fair point. Really like how they are going for this. Hopefully in the version 1.4 we're going to see the complete roster where you can pick up any unit to walk around the city, and hopefully they also solved bang issues, because they even said that bang was like a huge issue for them because his model is so big that it couldn't even fit inside the video store. So I don't know if they finally found a way to fix the bang issue, if they are just going to make the store bigger. I don't know. So just in case they release this system on the 1.4, let me know in the comments down below which unit you're picking to walk around the city like 24/7, which is going to be the first one you're going to pick. Because for me, it's definitely going to be, let me see, Jane, maybe. Jane or Nicole. We really would love to see those two But yeah, write down in the comment down below, let me know which one you're going to pick it up. Another huge thing that I'm really waiting for, banner reruns. And you can see GU1 in the official art. I know that I said that it is probably going to be tied to the main story, but I also think that the fact that they added GU1 here kind of makes you think about the possibility of banner reruns. And this is something that happened ever since Genshin Impact, where 1.4 is the patch where they start working with banner reruns. And 1.4 in Genshin, we had Venti, but no new characters, if I recall correctly. But I don't know if they are going for like a GU1 or Ellen rerun, because Ellen rerun feels a little bit sad here. Let's face the fact. We don't have a full information yet on that weird icon that they showcased, but miyabi is probably going to be somewhat ice-related character. And Ellen is also a ice unit, so why exactly I'm going to pull a 1.0 unit when we're getting a new 1.4 unit, you know? If they decided to go for an Ellen rerun instead of a GU1 rerun, it's going to be quite sad for Ellen. Because unless you don't like Anomaly playstyle or don't like miyabi at all, I don't see any reason for you to pull Ellen over miyabi, for example. They could also go for both reruns at the same time, but then you're going to have a total of 4 banners in the 1.4 patch. It could be kind of worrying for free-to-play players or players that started after the 1.0, where they lost both Ellen and GU1. GU1 still like in a really solid spot because she's the only Ether DPS, but Ellen, I think that players that skip it, yeah, Ellen is probably going to pull miyabi instead of Ellen, so not a good scenario for Ellen here. But let's see, because this is just speculation and we need to wait for the official information that we're going to get in just 3 days. Just 3 days is all we need to wait before getting the official information. So yeah, outside of these specific things, I just expect the usual thing, you know, like a lot of information on new characters, miyabi's kit overview, Harumasa kit overview as well, and some events, of course, some adjustments, new enemies, maybe some quality of life features that they keep releasing every single patch. So I don't know what exactly they are cooking. One thing that I really would love to see is like loadouts for your discs and weapons. I know this is a little bit too specific and they didn't release it for Genshin, they also didn't release for Honkai Star Rail, so they are probably not releasing something similar to Zenless on Zero. But right now, for example, there are some units that sometimes I play in a specific playstyle, so I use a specific set of discs, and then when I want to swap it back to the usual playstyle, I want to use another set of discs. Doing this swap back to back sometimes is really boring and something that sometimes I even forget to do. So the main example here that I can give to you is, for example, Caesar. I usually run Jane with Caesar and Seth. So when I'm running Jane with Caesar, Caesar is going to use Freedom Blues for peace, and Seth is going to use Protopunk for peace. And there's no point in using like Protopunk on both of them at the same time. So Caesar is running Freedom Blues because she's going to increase the build-up on Jane's side. But when I'm using Caesar with GU1, there's no point for me to use Freedom Blues on Caesar. So I want to go back to Protopunk. So I really would love to see loadouts, but I wouldn't expect this to come anytime soon. So yeah, these are my thoughts and expectations for the version 1.4, which I'm really expecting to be like a huge patch, both in terms of content, in terms of changes in quality of life, new features, things like this. Let me know your thoughts and expectations in the comment section down below, but feel free to join my Discord server as well, where we can chat both about all the expectations and the version 1.4 special program as well, once it airs up. As usual, thanks for watching, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next video.